Welcome back. So we are here in Las Vegas. We're in the South Point Hotel and Casino getting ready for the week that it is with the High Limit Racing Series. The first race on Thursday, second race on Saturday. Over at the track today, trying to get all the banners and signs put up and all that stuff. So getting some stuff done early on in the week, and now we're back at the hotel relaxing a little bit here. And it was finally unveiled today that officially that Ty Gibbs will be racing with High Limit Racing this week, at least on Thursday. As far as I know, he's not going to be there on Saturday, but nonetheless, he is going to be racing a sprint car, which is some pretty big news. You can't really think of at least me, a NASCAR Cup driver. When was the last time one actually participated in an outlaw or a high limit show that is not from that dirt racing background, right? I mean, you think of guys like Larson and Bell and Stenhouse, right? Casey Kane when he would race, when he was in the Cup Series and stuff like that. Am I missing somebody? Chase Briscoe. Really, other than that, I mean, there has not been a guy that you would not think about running a 410 sprint car in an actual race, right? So this is a pretty big deal, in my opinion, at least. Ty Gibbs making his Las Vegas Motor Speedway dirt track debut, his 410 sprint car debut, and of course his high limit racing debut all at the same time. And also, the other thing that's pretty interesting in this whole deal is the fact that Chad Boat now has a winged 410 sprint car, for however many years it's been. I mean, Chad Boat has been well known for how good his cars are in the USAC national midget scene, winning so many races and I think championships as well. I don't know if he's won one in USAC, but Power I think he had a championship or something like that. Either way, Chad Boat has one of the best midget programs in the entire country. And then, kind of dabbling in the micro stuff here recently. Ran the non-wing sprint car this year with Dason Persley down there in Florida. And now, just like that, he's got a winged 410 sprint car put together here for Ty Gibbs. And, what could this be leading to at some other point down the road? From years from now, 2 years from now, what could this look like for Chad Boat and his winged 410 sprint car? Does it take away from the midget side of things? I doubt it, but could this car be showing up more often, maybe without Ty Gibbs as the driver? That is a question that I certainly have here when this was announced earlier on. The sponsors on the car, I'm sure you probably saw it by now, all of the paint scheme reveal and all that stuff. But Monster Energy, I don't think there's ever been a Monster Energy sponsored sprint car. We've seen Rockstar Energy Drink. We've seen NOS Energy Drink, obviously. But Monster, the car looks pretty cool. Oakley is one of the sponsors on the car as well. Avanti Windows and Doors, that one was a little bit of a surprise to see them on the car. PristineAuction.com, we know that is a longtime partner of Chad Boats as well. So those are the sponsors on the car. And I think it looks good. I mean, Blackbeard did the design, and you will not be able to miss it out there on the racetrack. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did have a Ty Gibbs magnet made. It's actually in my backpack over there. And I took a guess. I did not know what the number of the car was going to be. I got a 54 for his NASCAR number, and then I got one for the 81 that he ran at the Chili Bowl. And of course, it was not either of those numbers. So it was the 84. So I'm going to have to order a whole new magnet. Either way, the car looks really good, and we'll see how it goes. Now, the plan is actually to run quite a bit from what I have been told this year. It's not like this is a one-off thing. He's only going to be running Thursday night in Las Vegas, and then they put the sprint car on the shelf, and it collects dust until next year, right? That is not the case here at all. Ty Gibbs is going to be running quite a few races this year. I would say maybe around the 10 mark, maybe more than that, at least from what I have been told. So unless something crazy happens at Las Vegas, maybe wrecks, and then that's the end of it, right? But I think that he's going to run quite a few races this year, and it sounds like mostly with the High Limit Series, probably those midweek Money Series events, not all of them, but a couple of them throughout the year. So we will see where he shows up to. But Las Vegas, definitely an interesting first place to go try and race at for your first time in a 410 sprint car. It's a fast joint. We know that. So he will definitely have to get acclimated to the speed very, very quickly in those, 3 hot laps that he gets early on in the night. Now, let's flip the board around here and talk about some other things here. What should the expectations be here for Ty Gibbs going into this race? I mean, from what I've been doing all my research and whatnot, it looks like maybe about 32, 33 cars. So definitely going to be a B main. I think for him just to make all of the laps and really just not spin out or crash or anything like that, kind of get some experience behind other cars and things. I don't think he's going to make the show by any means, but I think if he could run all the laps in the B main, all the laps in the heat race, and just get some clean laps under his belt, I think that would be a pretty big success for him. Now, his background in dirt racing did run at Millbridge very, very early on in his career. But other than that, when it comes to dirt racing, the Chili Bowl, he ran the midget there, got a G main win. And then what he ran on the dirt in the ARCA car, he ran second a couple of times on the miles on the old ARCA deal. He ran the NASCAR Cup Series race at Bristol. Can't remember where he finished at, but really all of his dirt stuff for the most part has taken place in big, heavy, stock cars that do not slide around the racetrack all that much. So the Chili Bowl is probably the only thing that he'll be able to use to translate into this next thing. He did test the car at, Carolina Speedway or something like that a few weeks back. So he does have some laps in the car. It's not like he's going to jump in there and be a complete, noob at it. But, being around other cars, that is definitely something he's never done before. Now, I did want to mention this as well because I saw so many comments and people were not happy about it. They're like, oh, this guy sucks, man. He's only there because his grandpa and this and that. Here's the thing, man. Say what you want about that, but you have got to give this guy some credit. He could do the same thing for the rest of his life, running NASCAR, running on Sundays, occasionally on Saturdays or whatever, and that could be his life forever and be a millionaire. And he could just do that same thing and not have any issues in the world. But no, this guy sees sprint car race. I'm guessing he's been watching High Limit. He's been watching the Outlaws and watching midget racing and stuff. He wants to get involved with it. He wants to build a sprint car. He wants to race out there. This guy is willing to risk his body and his life, really. To run a sprint car. Sprint car racing, we know, is a dangerous sport. I would say much more dangerous than NASCAR. You don't see guys getting hurt all that often in NASCAR races these days because those cars are so safe. The tracks are also safe. So you have to give Ty Gibbs some credit here to go out there and risk his body to run a sprint car for nothing, just to say he did it, I guess. I don't know, and to get into it. So we'll see how it goes, man. I did want to mention that, though, because that is certainly a pretty big deal in this thing. Ty Gibbs does not have to prove anything in a sprint car, but here he is, man. He is showing up against the best drivers in the world. Are going to try and make the A main and see what he can do. So give him some credit where the credit is due. And like I said, kind of at the top of this video, what could this lead to in the future for Ty Gibbs as far as, and really for CB Industries and the sprint car? Is this something that we see more and more each and every year? That he starts running more like Kyle Larson does, 30, 40 races a year? Does he start showing up to the Knoxville Nationals and the Kings Royal and stuff like that? I don't know if we're going to get too crazy right now, but I think at this point in time, like I said earlier, maybe 10 races a year, and then maybe scale it up from there. And then I'll tell you, man, when this whole charter thing comes out later this week, I think a lot of people are going to be pretty surprised with how that looks. And maybe that's something that Ty Gibbs, he's a team owner, I've been told, in the Xfinity deal. Maybe Ty Gibbs becomes a sprint car team owner. Maybe if he likes it a lot as a driver and he sees maybe the value in it. You can't really be upset if Ty Gibbs somehow becomes an owner in sprint car racing and gives another kid an opportunity to race at the highest level. I think that would be really awesome. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just trying to maybe predict what could happen in the future. If Ty Gibbs really, really likes the dirt racing community, how everything goes, and maybe this charter thing's a big deal, maybe he could become a team owner and then race on the side as well a little bit here and there. So I am very curious to see what the future holds for this whole pairing between Gibbs and Chad Boat. And then really the whole thing with this, this is going to bring a lot more eyeballs to the sport of sprint car racing. A ton of people have flow sports, whether that's for cheerleading or bowling or, whatever it is. I think they've got like flow band and they got all kinds of stuff on there. Wrestling. A lot of people have flow sports. And so that means they have flow racing. And so if they see, well, hey, Kyle Larson, Chris Ravel, and Ty Gibbs in a race too, I might as well check out Flow Racing tonight, see what this whole high limit thing's about. It's going to bring more eyeballs to the sport when you have a NASCAR Cup Series driver. From what I've been reading, I don't watch every single lap of NASCAR. I follow along with it, on a very, very small basis. But from what I've been told, he's been struggling here a little bit there in the NASCAR Cup Series side of things, but he's still a NASCAR Cup driver driving for one of the best teams in the entire, sport, right? Joe Gibbs Racing, one of the best teams in the whole sport. It's a pretty big deal to have a driver of this caliber coming over to try and race sprint cars, and it's only going to bring more eyeballs to this sport that we all love. So I like it, man. I think it's going to be fun to see how he goes. I'm looking forward to chatting with him down in the pit area before the racing gets underway and hear his thoughts about that test that he did, maybe get some of his what he thinks his expectations should be or what he's hoping to try and do that Thursday night. And then we will see where we see him again. I have been told where his next race will be. And I'm not going to, I don't know if that's been information that's been released yet, so I'm not going to, spill the beans on that. But if it is true, it is going to be quite interesting. It might be even crazier than him going and starting at Las Vegas. So, but Ty Gibbs, good luck to him on Thursday night to race with Highlander Racing, his first ever 410 sprint car race. Of course, I want to hear all of your thoughts and more down in the comment section below. Thank you all so very much for your support. I did bring the mini whiteboard. I told you I was going to bring it, and a little bit of breaking news did come out, so we decided to bust it out here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. Also, did want to touch on the whole Ridge and Sun Racing second car thing. I'm sure you watched Dirt Tracker's video today, and he kind of broke down what he thinks is going on and stuff like that. But yeah, that is another thing that is bringing more eyeballs to the sport if it all does come true. So sprint car racing, if there was a graph on this whiteboard, it would be the popularity and the eyeballs are all going up at a pretty high rate. So good stuff there, and that's all we've got in this video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, comment down below, and we'll talk again soon.